Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a much deeper look at the pre-order bonuses and the special deals that are currently available for Borderlands 3. When it was announced a couple of days ago that the Deluxe Edition and the Super Deluxe Edition would be coming, a lot of us were concerned because on those bundles we see trinkets and class mods and other things, and we were worried that maybe this was going to be some really good game-changing content that was locked behind a paywall. Well, ever since then, a bunch of retailers have been making listings, and they're properly describing each of the items that are going to be in each one of the bundles, and we're going to be covering all of that here in today's video. Let's kick things off here with the Deluxe Edition, which is currently priced at $80. This package will include both the Retro as well as the Neon Cosmetic Pack, with each of them containing cosmetic items like Vault Hunter skins, weapon trinkets, and Echo Device skins. Now, from the sounds of it, your user interface is going to be a much bigger deal in Borderlands 3 as compared to Borderlands 2 or the original or the pre-sequel. Maybe somewhat similar to the Pip-Boy that we see in the Fallout franchise, because apparently we're going to be able to customize our Echo device, which is really interesting. Also note that there will be weapon skins. So from the sounds of it, every weapon in the game is going to have its default appearance, like in Borderlands 2, for example, picture your Unkempt Herald, but on top of that default appearance, you're also going to be able to add different camos to it, essentially. We're going to have a neon appearance, a gold appearance, apparently like a retro appearance, or something like that. And depending on the version of the game you buy, you'll have access to these different skins that you can put on the weapons themselves, which is really interesting. I have to wonder, are they going to be adding skin drops in the game? Like if I kill Terramorphous, hypothetically, will there be a Terramorphous skin that I can therefore apply to all my weapons? Or is this only going to be a pre-order bonus for different editions of the game? I suppose we are going to have to wait and see. This is definitely going to make Borderlands 3 a lot more interesting when it comes to weapon customization, which in my opinion is perfectly fine, because Borderlands at the end of the day is a single player or co-op looter shooter, right? And if people want to customize their weapons to make them look different than the base model, I personally don't see a problem with that. I probably won't be using them. Like, I like the default appearance, I like the old school way of doing things, but when we're talking about customization in a co-op or single player looter shooter, I mean, that's fine, right? I don't really see a big problem with that. But going back to the Deluxe Edition, it's also going to include the Gearbox Cosmetic Pack, something called the Toy Box Weapon Pack, as well as equipable XP and loot drop boost mods. Now, the XP and loot mods are by far the most interesting items here. The idea of toy guns and grenade mods are really intriguing. I have no idea what they mean by that, but I'm wondering just how powerful and just how useful these experience and loot drop mods are going to be. If you recall, back in Borderlands 2, we got the Vault Hunter's Relic, which would give you better loot, right? But didn't really tell you how much better. All this actually translated to was a 5% increase to your chance of getting blue weapon drops in the game, right? So instead of maybe like a green weapon dropping off a random psycho somewhere, it would have a 5% higher chance to be a blue as compared to a green or a white, which at the end of the day really didn't translate to anything, especially when you consider the fact that it was a relic, and there are much better relics out there, like SMG damage relics for Sirens or melee damage relics for Krieg, for example. So at the end of the day, it wasn't that big of a deal, but here, they're calling it a mod. Not a relic, but a mod, so I have to wonder, is this going to be a class mod you have to equip to get better loot drops? And if that is the case, are they going to make it even better? Like, are they talking like maybe like a 20% higher chance for legendaries to drop or something like that? But in exchange for that, you can't have a class mod. As you guys know, like, class mods are pretty freaking good. They're pretty powerful. So we're going to have to wait and see, I suppose. We don't have specifics as of right now, but I also have to wonder, what about the experience mod, right? The XP mod actually sounds kind of good because, and this may be a super unpopular opinion, but hear me out on this. Leveling in Borderlands can get tedious when you're talking about extra characters, right? Because the Borderlands model has always been play through normal mode, right, all the way through the game, and then play through True Vault Hunter mode, which is the same game, but a little bit harder, and then by the end of that, you should be at level 50, which of course is level cap at the beginning of the game, and then after that, we get our extra packs, like our Ultimate Vault Hunter 2, OP levels, and things like that, and when that happens, by the time you make it up to 72 in Borderlands 2, you've beaten the game 4 times on one character, right? And for me personally, like, that character's Krieg, but let's say I want to go and play Gage. I've never played as Gage before. It's like, okay, well, now I have to go beat the game 4 more times with Gage to get up to max level so I can then start experiencing the end game. And I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, like, the leveling's fun and unlocking different talents and abilities, that's all great, but the end game is what I really care about. I like farming the bosses and the legendaries and trying out different builds and stuff like that, and to get to the end game is kind of tedious on extra characters. Your first time through, yeah, it's fine, but after that, it gets kind of tedious, and I'm wondering just how good this experience mod is going to be, right? Is it going to actually be worth it? Is it going to make grinding through on those extra characters not as bad? I think that'll definitely be a good thing. I'm interested to see just how powerful this is going to be, but going back to the deluxe edition of the game here, I'm happy that we now know that it's mostly just cosmetic stuff, right? It's going to be customization for your characters and your weapons, and we do know that Borderlands 3 is going to be super heavy into character and weapon customization, which I actually think is a really good thing. I've been talking about it with my brother during our Borderlands Remastered Let's Play, but when we're talking about adding sights to guns and weapon charms and skins and being able to customize your Echo device and your Vault Hunter, that's all fine, but I have to wonder, how far are they going to take it, right? I hope they don't add nonsense like supply drops. I'm hoping that microtransactions aren't a super big deal, and I'm especially hoping that microtransactions aren't going to get in the way of the core gameplay, which is something we're all kind of concerned about, right? With Borderlands 3 coming out in the current gaming climate, I mean, Borderlands 2 came out like 7 years ago, right? Things weren't as bad back then. Now the game's coming out in the current game climate. We know it's going to focus a lot on character and weapon customization. How bad are the microtransactions going to be here in this game? I suppose we are going to have to wait and see, but for right now, let's move away from the Deluxe Edition and now focus in on the $100 Super Deluxe Edition, which basically contains everything that we saw during the regular Deluxe Edition, but it's also going to include the Season Pass, as well as the Butt Stallion weapon skin, the Trinkets, and the Grenade mod. Now, focusing in on the Grenade mod here for a second, I find it interesting that so many of these personalization packs are also including grenade mods. If I had to guess, the mods are probably going to be a lot like the Gearbox weapons or the legendaries that we see in the Borderlands Remaster. I imagine they're going to be relatively decent weapons at the very beginning of the game, but then once you get like towards level 10 or so, that grenade mod's gonna be kind of useless. And it's probably also going to do something cool. If it's a Butt Stallion grenade mod, I imagine something cool is going to happen with it, but I don't see it really affecting the game as a whole. It's probably just going to be more or less a cosmetic thing that helps you out during the early game. But as for the Season Pass, we are now officially set to have 4 major DLC drops, which is incredible news because we now know for a fact that Borderlands 3 is going to be getting a ton of post-launch support on top of the base game, just like with what we saw during Borderlands 2, and not like the disaster that we saw with Borderlands the pre-sequel. The pre-sequel was so disappointing. It was supposed to be like just as big and crazy as Borderlands 2, but we got one DLC pack, and then after that, 2K Australia basically imploded and are no longer a studio, which is actually pretty depressing for the people that work there. But moving along here, that's basically the $100 Super Deluxe Edition. It's basically the same as the regular Deluxe Edition, but you also get the Season Pass, as well as the Butt Stallion Cosmetic Pack. And finally, we have some more details regarding the $250 Collector's Edition. Now, here we can see that the chest is going to include a bunch of different stuff, but now we have some specific details. Like, for example, the 10 character figurines are going to be about 3 inches tall, and they're going to feature all 4 of the new Vault Hunters, as well as the Calypso twins, and apparently 4 other notable Borderlands characters. Maybe Maya is going to be in there, maybe Claptrap. We really have no idea as of right now, but the characters are going to be about 3 inches tall. We also have the Sanctuary 3 Snap model, which is going to be a constructible model ship, which basically confirms that the ship we're going to be using to travel throughout the galaxy to these different planets is going to be called Sanctuary 3. So a bit of a spoiler there, I suppose, for the game itself, but the rest of the items here are pretty self-explanatory, and all in all, those are going to be the different bundles that we have for Borderlands 3. And I'm very happy to see that they're basically all just cosmetic. They're not really as big of a deal as we thought they were going to be. And one final bit of news that I have for you guys here today, I want to let you guys know about another bundle deal slash offer, but not really. Hear me out on this. If you go to the Microsoft Store, right, where you can basically pre-order the game for the Xbox One, it was officially listed that Borderlands 3 is going to feature cross-platform co-op. This means that players on the Xbox One are going to be able to play with their friends and other players on PC and vice versa, which is obviously incredible. That's a really good bit of news, but interestingly enough, the listing has now been altered to no longer include cross-platform if you go over to the Microsoft Store. It was there initially, but it has since been changed, and I have to wonder, is it really going to be cross-platform? platform was a mistake, but I really hope it's going to be cross-platform. There's really no reason why it should not be cross-platform, and as always, I will keep you guys posted with more details as they become available. But until then, that's all I have for you guys here in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop me a rating, and really quickly, thank you guys so much for all the support recently here on the channel in regards to Borderlands content. I've been making so many videos, and it's been so much fun interacting with you guys, and I'm super stoked about this game, man. It's looking like it's going to be a really fun year here for New Year's Let's Plays, and once again, thank you guys so much for all the continued support. But until my next video, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please drop me a rating, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.